everybody, how are you feeling today? It's Eliraz from Team NDL and welcome to Star Rating of Rise of the Duelist. Now this is something I'm going to do for the Coalition of Scrubs for OCG sets with the 80 cards and whatever when they're going to come out or fully be revealed, and I'm going to talk about them. Unlike the things I'm going to do on my channel when I'm doing smaller sets and more archetype stuff, which I can talk a little bit more long, here I'm going to try to do it shorter and in the way of like, I'm going to show already the number 1, 2, 5 on screen. After, of course, this, you're going to see them because like they will be the place that you're going to rate the cards, and of course the way that I'm going to rate the cards already being shown, as well as like the timestamp as well are going to be shown a little bit in a second. But the numbers 1 through 5 are going to appear all the time on screen. Archetype, I'm going to take a little bit more time to talk about them, but I'm going to rate them pre-initially a little bit earlier. There are going to be 80 cards here, so I'm not going to go over all of them. Like, I'm going to essentially give my rating, but if I think like a card is not important, or just you can check it yourself, but it's probably not going to see play, or just the cards that everybody know what it does, I'm just not going to talk about it that much. I'm just going to give it its rating. But without further ado, let's jump right into it, because it's probably going to take a whole lot of time if I don't. So let's get started with the first archetype, which is Gaia. Now Gaia is a pretty interesting one. I'm pretty sure it's going to get one of the 20 imports that we're going to see here and there is going to be the so-called the small Gaia, but regardless, there are 4 cards that are essentially the support cards, which are the Fusion, the Gaia, forgot what his name, like the first one in the set, the one that rides on the red horse, the Curse of Dragon, and the Fusion spell, which I'm going to rate all of them 3 stars. They essentially have the particular fusion capability of like doing use Gaia himself to summon Curse of Dragon from hand or graveyard. Curse of Dragon search for you a card, a spell trap that specifically lists Gaia the Dragon Champion. You search the fusion, you activate the fusion, you send both to the graveyard to fusion and summon the the Gaia the Dragon Champion, the new one. You give it 2600 attack, you can attack twice because of the fusion spell, and because of Curse of Dragon, when it sends to the graveyard, all monsters on the field that have less attack than it, equal or less, are essentially their effect are negated. So they're going to kind of like, I don't think your opponent monsters are going to have 5200 attack, so I think you're pretty much going to negate the entire field effect. And regardless, then finally the Fusion monster itself, when it destroys a monster by battle, getting 2600 attack, and also it can lose 2600 attack to pop a card. So overall, I think this is a really cool archetype in terms of like a tier 3-ish OTK that is very consistent, or just nice way to just play around, maybe slide Gaia as an engine, or maybe like play them and play an engine with them. They're interesting. Overall, I don't think they're going to be absolutely amazing. You do have the 2 supporting cards, which are Catapult and Charging, which are Charging Gaia, which are both really good searchers. Turtle is just Catapult Turtle just tribute itself to get any of them, either Gaia or Curse of Dragon, or a level 5 dragon to be exact, himself or another monster. And then you have the Charging Gaia, which essentially like you reveal one of the other and you get the other one, which is really cool, and also give your Gaia the Dragon Champion an Armides effect. So that's really cool. 4 stars for both of these. As for the traps, 2 stars, both of them. They have nice utility effects, but I think this deck is going to be more of an OTK. The continuous trap is fine, but like it's kind of a little bit on a weird side. The normal trap is actually pretty good to revive a monster back and just give it like, cannot be targeted and stuff like that, which is really cool. And then lastly, you have Soldier, which I'm going to give 1 star. Unless you really go for like the OTK and specifically it's going to help you, you're not going to tribute your big Gaia, so I don't really see a whole lot of use for this guy. So I don't really like him, but you could essentially prove me wrong. Next up, let's talk about the archetype that everybody is pretty much excited about, which is the Dragonoma archetype. There are 5 cards I'm considered as a good engine archetype. The rest of them are a little bit of the lackluster ones, but I still think like the Dragonoma archetype is overall really good. The one I'm talking about, I believe it's Saint, that's the name of that girl searcher. Knight, Maximus, Nadir, and then Punishment, I think, the trap, the one that like pretty much like Nadir but different. These are 5 stars in my opinion. They're live and die together. Maybe not punishment, but I still think like punishment, just go with them together. If you're trying to go into more of a control thing, both of the, like all of these 5 cards are really, really great. Essentially, they're giving you like, Maximus is like banish extra deck monster from your graveyard, and then special summon itself, and then you can destroy your opponent's graveyard extra deck as well. And you essentially work in the fact that like you destroy both people's extra deck. You don't care about your own that much, and you could play it in an a deck like Invoked, which doesn't really, like, you do care about the extra deck, but not that much. But you could also destroy your opponent's extra deck pretty nicely, so that's really, really cool. Yeah, it's really nice. These are the 5 cards. Knight especially is really good, but these are the 5 cards I think are going to be insane. As for the rest of them, Heart, which is the big monster in the field spell, 1 star. Heart is a little bit more way of a steep cost for the effect, and the field spell just doesn't really give you anything. Oracle, Fist, and Encounter, which is the trap, and the 2 monsters are essentially have the same summoning effect as Saint, but a little bit less on the good side, which is one of them, which is Fist, is the 600 gainer and make your opponent monster lose 600 attack, is not really on the good side. 2 stars for him, and then you have Oracle, which is Floater on 2020, which is not really that good anymore. 2 stars, all of these. Encounter is really nice, but just not really that great. As for the sub-archetype, which you do have a sub-archetype for this, you have a small like 2-card sub-archetype, 1 main deck and 1 extra deck. Alkir, I believe his name is, or whatever. The main deck one is pretty much a super poly, but worse, but doesn't require you to have the fusion spell. It's a weird one, but it's still really cool. I give him 3 stars. If you can get him to special summon, even in an archetype that is not this, he's really useful. He's like serves as an additional super poly target, which is really nice, and it's also dark, which is really useful. And then the fusion itself, it's not really that great. The Bastard Fusion is just not really one of the great cards I've seen. Like, it's cool, but not really amazing. So 2 stars for that one. As for the next archetype, which is Flame Noble Knights, you have the level 1, which is really good for Flame Noble Knights, which is the... I forgot what her name is, but she's essentially like have both effects once per duel, which is kind of stupid, because if it wasn't like that, I will give her 5 stars, but she's only 4 stars. Also, I don't think this archetype is playable with its older support that is not like Cybernetic Horizon Fusion, Soul Fusion, Spells and Traps, Extra Deck, and maybe Modrad and Brothers. The rest of the support is not going to work with this, just going to say out loud. But the level 1, the new Flame Noble Knight, she's really good. She gives you both effects, which are really nice. You banish Flame Noble Knight, or should I say Fire Warrior, from your hand or graveyard. From your hand or graveyard, and you special summon it and become the same level, and then it can banish itself from the graveyard to essentially, during the second standby phase after activation, which this effect is kind of but still sometimes if it's going with a grind game, she can come back with another Fire Warrior that is banished during the second standby phase after activation, which is okay, I guess. So she's not bad. The first effect is pretty much really good, but the second one, it's fine. Then you have the 3 other ones, which are them and the equips. Both of these roles are essentially like have kind of like there are 3 that are supposed to work, like do the same thing. So let's start with the main deck monsters. You have the so-called the Foolish Burial one, which also kind of giving you a protection, I believe, from destruction. Which I'm always getting confused with him, and the one that is becoming a level 1 tuner if you control a Fire Warrior, and then like he can special summon himself and become a level 1, which I think he's the one that gave you protection from targeting. And then the last one, which essentially giving you, like if it gets sent to the graveyard, giving you a Pot of Avarice, effect mini Pot of Avarice to shuffle Fire Warriors or equips from your graveyard or banish back into your deck, and protection from battle. And what do I mean by protection is essentially like these cards, when they're in the graveyard, the monsters, can equip themselves to a monster and give that monster the effects of like that I mentioned. Pot of Avarice guy, 2 stars. Pot of Avarice is not really always that useful, but still nice effect to draw. The 2 others, 3 stars, they can get you really nice started, which is really cool. As for the equips, the new ones, which are also like work at the same way, they have an effect that like you equip them, and then you can activate a particular effect, and then they destroy themselves after some set effect, and then you get another effect once that happens. So let's start with the good one. The good one is essentially you activate it, the effect of searching a level 5 or lower Fire Warrior, then it pops itself, and then it's a Monster Reborn, which is 4 stars by the way, if you're able to get a monster to your graveyard just to really get you off. Second best one is the one that pretty much works the other way around, which is a recycler from your graveyard if you activate the effect, and then pop itself to pretty much special summon a monster from your hand, which is really good. Good, so 3 stars on that one. And the last one, which is 2 stars, you cannot attack with any monster except the particular monster that is equipped with it, and then can attack twice during battle phase, and then after the battle phase, it pops itself to pop a card on the field, which is it's not really that great. Which is really cool, I guess. But still, one problem with the Noble Knights, Flying Noble Knights, which I'm going to say, which we're also going to see in the Synchros, is they have this problem which still can be kaiju'd quite easily and then lose their entire board, because they're still working protect the castle kind of effect, or something like that, just like Bujins. Then we're moving on to the Synchros. First off, we have the Ronald Synchro, which is pretty much you send an equip, and then during the end phase, search a warrior. And then his grave effect is as a quick effect, he equip himself to a monster and give it 500 attack, which does sound a little bit weird, but it is good with the level 9 Synchro, which is the level 9 Synchro, giving you, as you equip, like an equip to it, like to a monster, as a quick effect. And it essentially also doesn't target, but it does destroy. Even during the damage step, it's pretty much can pop a card. So if you equip the Ronald, like the quick play one, to your monster, like the level 9 one, you can pop even during the damage step, which is really weird, but okay. And then it's also have a nice another effect, which I think happened during the end phase, I believe, which is like you send an equip to the, like you equip a equip from your grave or your deck to that card, and then you also equip a Fire Warrior from your deck, and then this card gain 500 attack, which is pretty interesting, I guess. But like I said, still the problem of like protect the castle. So both of these Synchros, 3 stars. Then lastly for the trap, which is 3 stars as well, I think it's pretty cool. You banish an equip, you pop a card, pretty nice overall, and it's also have another benefit, which is the pop, or when a Ronald get pop, it's also instead of summoning your 3 Fire Warriors up to level 9. I don't think it's going to be that great, but it's still, I guess, okay. Then we're moving on to the last new archetype, which is the Marphase, I believe the name is, or whatever. These guys are all, in my opinion, 2 stars. They're really cute, really awesome, but they're essentially kind of more of a fun deck. The monsters effects, especially the extra deck ones, are really slow, and you look at the archetype and you understand it's more of like continue recycling, continue bouncing until you get like 5 materials, and even then, after you get like on your big payoff Xyz monster, it's still really slow at some points. So I'm kind of like, I'm not sure about that one. It's really cool, it's really cute, it's really nice. The trap I don't really like, as well as like the non-effect monster, but whatever. But overall, you have like your searcher, you have your recycler, you have your special summon from hand, you have your special summon from deck. As long as your opponent attack your stuff or activate effects or whatever, you can special summon it, and then you have the Xyz that can search your stuff, and the continuous spell and the quick play spell, which can also shuffle stuff, and kind of doing the same thing but differently. It's really cool, but like I said, it's still kind of, in my opinion, it's just a way too much slow of a deck. Then we'll move on to the additional archetype with support, which is like older archetypes that got supports. So let's start with the 2 big ones, which are, first off, Fluffles. Fluffles, all the monsters 5 stars. You have Foolish Burial that also set a Toy Vendor during your deck, which is Dolphin. Like you set Toy Vendor and it's become a Foolish Burial, which also can, when it's used for a fusion summon, can also make your Patchworks in the future live, because it shuffle a fusion or polymerization from your graveyard or banish pile into your deck back. You don't get to draw a card, but still really cool. You have a Gem Scythe, which is really awesome to fusion summon during your opponent turn, and it's probably considered to be like the second best Gem monster. Still a little bit sad that it's not also during your turn, but still really cool. Also have a nice protection effect. And then Whale, which is also a level 9. And oh yeah, can pop a card, kind of when you fusion summon it, it's a break sword effect, as well as just can send frightful cards as a quick effect to boost monster attack, and also, like I said, the Foolish Burial. So that's really cool. As for the new spell for Fluffles, 3 stars, it's a nice either Monster Reborn, which also shuffle a card from the graveyard, or if it's in the graveyard, it's a nice kind of like, what it called, the Spiral Assault, I believe. Like, it's kind of like that. So, like, you banish it to special summon from your hand, and a Jimp or a Fluffle, which is really cool. The trap, though, 1 star. I don't see this one being playable. It's a trap. You don't really have enough good edge imps. It's just really, really not that good. As for the Dark Lords, except from the, I believe Enjoyment was the first name. I don't know what they changed it to, but whatever. Except from her, all of the monsters, like the main deck monsters, 3 star, the 2 others. She herself is a 1 star. Her tribute effect is just really not that good. Even if she's making it a quick effect that you can summon during your opponent's turn, it's still pretty stupid. And then the Grave Send effect to reduce monster attack is not really that good. The 2 other monsters, which are the level 8 and the level 4, which is Pleasure. Pleasure is just nice, weird searcher, I guess. It's a little bit more, I would say, on the weird side, but makes sense for Dark Lord. It also kind of helps you to set for some weird super polymerization, but still not the best, so that's why it's only 3 stars. And then the level 8, which kind of don't really have a nice effect overall, but have being a level 8 and have the normal, like the big new Dark Lords shuffle the spell and trap thing and gain the effect. Really, really cool. So I think he's just overall very, very nice, and you're probably going to play at least one of him. As for the fusion and the fusion trap, 2 stars. The fusion itself is a little bit not on the best side, but still really cool, I guess. It still lacks some luster in some particular points. And it's also require Morningstar to get all of his effects, which are not that great. And the trap itself is just, it's again not that great as well. Again, you can just play Super Poly if you're already playing Pleasure. I wish the big fusion was 2 materials, or 2+ materials, and then have an additional effect. But regardless, this is the Dark Lord support that we got. As for the small support, you start off with Machina. Machina has a Kalut one, and then a one weird Old Union effect. The Old Union effect guy, 1 star. The Kalut one, 2 stars. It's okay, the old Kalut one, it can also recycle itself, but Battle Traps are just not going to make it in 2020. Math Mech, which is the next one, 4 stars, really good card for the archetype, revive from the graveyard, and also kind of like giving your so-called Synchro or Xyz an additional negation to kind of like stop your opponent from stopping you to either achieve a board or OTK, which is really cool. Next up is the Nemesis one, 3 stars. It's pretty awesome. It just giving you a nice effect of a monster that can just pretty much recycle itself back during the end phase, just being used next turn. Really cool. Then you have Supplier, and which is the Core Chimera card, and I'm going to also include the Emancipator spell because I think like they're intended to be made for those, but also not really. It doesn't really matter. Quackimera Supplier, 5 stars. Emancipator Friends, 5 stars. Emancipator Friends is just a really, really nice searcher, giving you, like, at the very least, even if you don't control a monster, you activate 5 cards, and then you can add a level 5 or lower rock monster from the exhibited monsters, and then put the rest of them on the bottom. Of course, you cannot summon anything but rock, but if you have additional monsters on the field, you can activate it more, and get a bigger monster in your hands. Or if you have 3 monsters, rock monsters, you can activate 8 cards and get a block dragon, which is really cool. And Supplier, you send a rock to the graveyard, special summon it, and search a Quackimero. Or Iron Core, whatever. But you search a Quackimero, the Quackimero, the one that negate monster effects. Really, really powerful, and it's also giving you a free body on the field. I think it's going to find and fit really, really nice with the Emancipator archetype. Thunderhand, 1 star. It's not 2014 anymore. Gizmek, really, really nice summoning effect. Nice destruction effect. A little bit of weird bonus life points effect, but still really okay, I guess. 4 stars. It's not the best Gizmek, but still pretty useful. Red Potion, 2 stars, way too weird of a card. I'm not really sure there are enough cards for this to be useful, that's why it's only getting 2 stars. And the effect I'm not sure is the most useful one. Megalith, 5 stars. This card is absolutely insane. Do you really need to explain that? It's an absolutely insane card. Ritual during your opponent's turn. Recycle the ritual monsters that it used for its own ritual, become its level permanently, which is really stupid. So you can ritual summon your level 8s really easily, or your level 4s really easily as well. Rika Queen rank 4, which is the new for Snowflower, if you don't know what I mean. 3 stars. She is a little bit harder to summon because the level 4s are not the best, but she gives you access to really awesome tools and also recycle for your stuff, so that's really nice. Ancient Warrior Link, 3 stars, a nice search, a nice bounce effect, really nice. A little bit harder to summon, again it's on archetype, but still really cool. Ancient Warrior Spell, 2 stars, a little bit of a weird card, and only really feel useful with the Link monster. Other than that, it's just way too much stupid. Deep Sea Field Spell. Deep Sea Field Spell, it's a weird one. I'm going to give this one, unfortunately, 1 star because it's feel like it's not really that playable and you have better options in the Deep Sea archetype. And the banishing effect that it's essentially have is not really that good. You have better banishing effects and it doesn't require you to run a field spell. That's not really the greatest. I'm not sure. I never really played the Deep Seas and the Mermaids that much, but I do feel like from my experience, like from seeing them play, or at least like I played a little bit, but not that much, and I feel like this card is not going to be that great. Fury of the King, Okashin or whatever. Nice searcher for Torrential, but a little bit too late, I am afraid, for some stuff. But still really nice protection. Not sure it's going to see play, but I'm still going to give it 3 stars out of respect, because the card is searching for a Torrential Tribute, which Torrential Tribute is pretty awesome. Forbidden Drop, 2 stars. A weird card with a weird negation effect, but it should be said that if you just discard monster, spell, or trap, is essentially just giving you the ability to, oh yeah, my opponent cannot activate anything to respond. So that's really cool, I guess. So I guess that works. Dragon Cycle, which is the new support card, 4 stars. This card helps a lot with deck problems, and it's Foolish Burial. If Foolish Burial goods target, and you just want to do that, and you can search any Tiny card, which is really cool. Then you have the Shadow Rogue, I believe the name of the effect, or Rogue, I don't know. It's a nice fusion spell or trap for Shadows, and it's just giving you from using the graveyard, and it's also have a nice sending effect to your opponent depending on the attribute, so that's really cool. Dragon Maid Cleanup, which is the last archetypal card, it's interesting, I guess. It does do what the archetype do, not really the most strongest cards, but still pretty cute, I guess. So 3 stars on that one. So that pretty much does it for the archetype support. Now we'll move on to the rest. Dead Reef, which is the new fish card, 5 stars. It's a Foolish Burial, 4 fish, and a draw, like a mini Pot of Avarice and 1. It's absolutely ridiculous. Lamp of Dracoon Lamp or whatever, the new Raccoon guy, 1 star. It's not really that useful. Chaotic Demonic Dragon. Do you really need to say this? 5 star. It's absolutely insane. Okay, insane effect for light and dark. Essentially, like, you activate 5 cards and send the rest to the graveyard. It's absolutely ridiculous in decks like Lightsworns, and just generally. And it's also have a nice revival effect, which is really cool. So yeah, this card is going to be probably one of the most sought up cards in the set. Siegebreaker, 1 star, or Spinbreaker, I think the name. It's not 2014. Guy the Thunder Charger for rank 4 is just not going to cut it anymore. 3 talents, or 3 tactical talents, I think the name of that one is. Do I really need to explain that this card is 5 stars, if not even 6? It's above all of the cards in the set, and one of the most stupidest cards I've seen in a while. If your opponent activates a monster effect during this turn, you either get Change of Heart, full Pot of Greed, or the, I'm not sure what the card is, but probably going to show it on screen, which is essentially you shuffle a card from your opponent's hand into the deck. It's absolutely stupid. it's ridiculously stupid, and it's probably going to stop hand traps a little bit, at least the monster effects. Probably going to still infinite impermanence and stuff like that, but it's probably going to stop your opponent from like super playing stuff, because they all know that if they'll do that, they're either giving you more resources if you're going first, and going second, it just really help you break boards. So yeah, like I said, 5 stars, maybe even 6. Blizzard, interesting card, but way too specific for the negation of spells, I guess, but still way too specific. 2 stars. Last one, which is Dice Thingy, or Dice Again, I think the name is. 1 star, really terrible search card, and just bad card overall. It's just really bad. 1 star. If I could also give it like -1 star. It's really terrible. It's one of the worst gamble cards I ever seen. Then we have Jar, or should I say reusable Jar, moving on to the traps. 1 star. This is not Trap Trick. I don't really see any use for this one. Even not in decks like Altergeist, because I think there are better options. Dimensional Prison or whatever, the one that had Trishula and Escalon for some reason, even though essentially I think that Dragoon Escalon wasn't in the lore, but whatever, during that time. 3 stars, really useful with Zombie World, and at least deserve a try. I don't think it's going to be absolutely insane, but still pretty nice. And then Junk Sleep, which is a weird name, 2 stars. This one is helpful, I guess, for some decks, like, oh yeah, Crawlers, I guess, but you do have the Prediction Princess Ritual, which is a lot better. Maybe it can even help to Entangled, but like, you have better options. Like, the Prediction Princess Ritual is going to be a little bit more easier to use, and you can use it during your own turn, and you're essentially going to flip only like only in later turns it's become like, oh, you're going to flip more than one. So I'm not really sure about that one. But 2 stars at the very least, I think it's going to go a try. So that's pretty much does it for the 80 cards. This was supposed to be at over an hour. I was able to do it in less than 30 minutes at the time of this recording that I'm seeing on screen. Yeah, hope you enjoyed this one. Pretty much on the longest videos, and I'm going to try to do those even in like other sets I'm doing on my channel, like doing it like, you know, go in detail, but not way too much detail because you don't want to spend your time. If you want to, you could use headphones for these kind of things. I should have said that on the start, because not really so much to see. But I hope you enjoyed this one. You want to see more of these, let me know in the comments down below what do you think about these, because these are really awesome, but also on the other hand, really hard to make. Probably not good to become like a regular, at least not here, because if I'm going to do it to myself on my channel, probably not good to do that again for the coalition to do double the work. Regardless, I hope you enjoyed. Don't forget to like, subscribe the video, and help the coalition of Scrubs and myself as the rest of the members as well, which I probably should say before myself. See you all next time. Remember, creativity is the key in this game. Have a good day, guys. Stay safe in this dangerous time. And bye-bye.